This week, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese finally addressed the alleged Islamophobic assaults on two women at a suburban shopping centre, nearly a week after the incidents took place. The attacks, which occurred at a mall in Epping, a northern suburb of Melbourne, left one of the women, who is pregnant, bruised and shaken. Speaking with ABC Radio Melbourne on Wednesday, the Prime Minister condemned the attacks, calling them outrageous and completely unacceptable. He stated that assaults based on race or religious beliefs have no place in Australia and that those responsible should face the full weight of the law. Albanese's response came after Independent Senator Fatimah Payman criticised both the media and politicians for their lack of urgency in addressing the attacks. In a video posted on social media, Payman called out what she saw as a double standard, questioning why the Prime Minister had not spoken out sooner and why the media coverage had been so minimal. She pointed out that similar incidents affecting other communities often receive immediate and extensive attention, while attacks on Muslims seem to be met with silence. Supporting Payman's stance, Adele Salman from the Islamic Council of Victoria argued that Australian leaders should address anti-Muslim hate with the same seriousness as antisemitism and other hate crimes. Speaking to SBS News, he said, "They know it's real. They know it harms Muslims. They know it can lead to fatalities." He referenced the Christchurch terror attack as an example of what happens when Islamophobia is ignored or downplayed. The attack in Epping involved an unidentified woman allegedly assaulting a 30-year-old Muslim woman inside the shopping centre before pushing a 26-year-old woman to the ground. Both victims were taken to hospital with bruises, scratches, and potential long-term injuries. One of the victims, Alyssa, who is pregnant, told The Guardian Australia that she now feels unsafe in her own country. "I'm terrified to go out. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm scared to even leave the walls of my house. It's 100% because I'm Muslim. I was born here, this is my country. Where do I go when I'm attacked in my own home?" she said. Race Discrimination Commissioner Giridharan Sivaraman also expressed concern, stating that these incidents highlight the ongoing issue of Islamophobia in Australia, particularly violence against visibly Muslim women. "It was shocking to learn about these attacks. They were violent, unprovoked, and distressing," he told SBS News. He added that while phrases like social cohesion are often thrown around, true harmony cannot be achieved unless racism is acknowledged and properly addressed. Despite calls for a stronger response, Albanese's office did not directly address criticisms of his delayed reaction. Instead, they pointed to a statement released by Julian Hill, the Federal Assistant Minister for Multicultural Affairs. Opposition leader Peter Dutton, however, condemned the attacks in no uncertain terms, calling them unacceptable, egregious, and a disgrace, while also noting the particularly concerning fact that one of the victims was pregnant. Rabbi Junaid, president of the Australian Federation of Islamic Councils, also weighed in, saying that these incidents are not isolated but part of a disturbing trend of increasing Islamophobic violence. "The physical security of Australian Muslims is being threatened on an almost daily basis, yet the response from authorities and political leaders remains grossly insufficient," he stated. Victorian Premier Jacinta Allan made it clear that her government has zero tolerance for hate-fueled violence, including Islamophobia, and announced amendments to Victoria's anti-hate laws to strengthen responses to such incidents. Meanwhile, Peter Khalil, Labor's Special Envoy for Social Cohesion, reassured the public that the overwhelming majority of Australians reject this kind of vile attack. The government insists that it has been proactive in tackling religiously motivated violence, highlighting efforts such as Operation Avalite, a federal policing initiative launched in response to threats against the Jewish community. Additionally, legislation has been passed banning Nazi symbols and introducing mandatory minimum jail terms for certain hate crimes. Despite these measures, many in the Muslim community feel that the response to Islamophobic violence remains inadequate. Senator Payman, for instance, accused both the media and politicians of a clear double standard. She referenced an alleged attack on an imam in Sydney, noting that it received barely any national coverage. Where was the outrage? Where was the wall-to-wall media coverage? Where were the Prime Minister and Premiers denouncing it with the same force we see for other incidents? She asked. This frustration is shared by many Australian Muslims who feel their experiences of discrimination often dismissed. Some argue that Islamophobia has been normalised to the point where many Muslims don't even bother reporting attacks. A lot of people think it's just part of being Muslim in modern-day Australia, which is unacceptable. "Nobody should have to tolerate that," said one community leader. Others cite a lack of trust in authorities, with some feeling that reporting hate crimes to police is pointless because past complaints have led nowhere. There are also language barriers and concerns about being perceived as complainers by the wider public. At a press conference, Albanese maintained that his government is committed to fighting all forms of hate and discrimination. My view is that any attack on people on the basis of their faith or who they are is reprehensible, and I certainly hope that the perpetrators get tracked down and face the full force of the law, he said. He also pointed to the appointment of a special envoy on Islamophobia as a key step forward in addressing these issues. The incidents in Epping serve as a stark reminder that Australia still has a long way to go in tackling Islamophobia. While political leaders have been quick to condemn antisemitism and other forms of hate, many are calling for the same urgency and commitment when it comes to protecting Muslim Australians. That's all for today's coverage. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all the latest news. Cheers!